Hey y'all, how are you today? I am Royal Star and I come on here to do a very important message today and a very important topic, which is ancestor altars. I'm so excited about this topic. You guys, I have had an ancestor altar for about 3 years now. So first things first, let me just explain what an ancestor altar is. So ancestor altars is a sacred space that you create for your ancestors to give them energy on the other side. So it's important to understand that when we leave this realm, our shell goes back to the earth, but our spirit still remains. So our ancestors, the point in this evolution in life is to elevate, is to ascend. So that doesn't stop when you leave this realm. The other side also has to ascend to the next level and the next level and the next level. And what you want to do is to give your ancestors energy by providing a sacred space for them, which is known as shrines, again, ancestor altars. This is something that has been brought to the United States fairly new. This has been an ancient practice, practiced over in Africa, Asia. To this day, they still practice it. If you go to any Chinese restaurants, you will always see that there's an altar that meets you at the front of the door. So people have been giving their ancestors energy for a very long time, and it's about time that we start doing it, you guys. So yes, that's what ancestor altars are. And I have some notes here, you guys. I don't want to be all over the place. I want to make sure I give you guys key points here. And I want to go ahead and give you guys some information on ancestor altars, how to build them, and things like that. So let's start at why are ancestor altars important. Um, the most important thing is again to uplift your ancestors in the realm that they're in. So again, the whole point of us being here on this realm is to ascend, is for our soul and our spirit to ascend to the next level. So you want to give them energy and um, help their spirit stay alive by knowing that, hey, you guys, we recognize you, we understand that you're still here with us. Some of us still communicate with our ancestors, whether if it's in a dream state, whether if you're at home and you know that there's something about this certain area, or for some reason you will go to a certain spot in your house and it smells like your grandmother's house. Or what's very interesting is I'm a homebody, so I'm usually home a lot, and you don't know what your home smell like if you're at home all the time. So when I do go out, and I'll be gone for hours, or I'll come back home, and when I walk into my home, you guys, it smells like an old lady's house. I promise you. You know what I mean when I say old lady house. So them old people house got a certain smell to it. You know what I'm talking about. When I come in my home, it smells like old people live here. And I know that my ancestors are here. And for the people who are watching this video and are interested in ancestor altars, this won't sound crazy to you. Or maybe it will. But yeah, my ancestors are active in my home. Not in a way that I see them walk in or anything like that, because they know I don't like that. So I don't play around with like visually seeing things. My gifts are different areas, like different senses, hearing and smelling and even tasting. Yes, a certain thing with taste when it comes to gifts. That'll be another video. But yeah, so ancestor altars is very important to give energy to your ancestors while they're on the other side. That way they're able to ascend, and they're also able to help you while you're still here on this realm. Because what you have to understand is your ancestors is almost like a ladder. You have you, well, let's start from here. You have hell, Hell is just below us. Hell is nothing but 2D. If we in 3D, then hell is right below us. Okay, so you have hell, you have the earth plane, which we live on, the physical beings, and then you have your ancestor altars, your ancestors, which is right above you. So they're right in that realm of being able to communicate with you. Then you have your ascended masters, your God, your orishas, and your angels and things like that. And the letter continues to go up. The higher they are from you, the harder it may be to connect with certain energies, like orishas, and you have, what do you call them, angels, like Archangel Michael and Raphael. So yeah, that's another video, but just know that your ancestors is right above us, so they have a bird's eye view of what's going on, and they are the closest energy to know what it felt like to be here on this earth realm. So it's important to give them honor. It's important to give them gratitude, and to give them energy to help them to ascend, and in turn that helps you to ascend, because again, we are all connected. So let's go ahead and also something that's very important, it helps to break off the generational curses off your family with giving energy to your ancestors. And yeah, some of your ancestors may still be stuck. Some ancestors, when they were here, they died and they were Christians. And some ancestors are still over there stuck, and they still may be waiting on Jesus to come and save them. That's a real thing. So you want to give them energy to help them ascend to the next level. Everything ain't just gravy on the other side. And everybody don't just, oh, when you die, you go to heaven or you go to hell. Let's retrain our brain, you guys. That's not the way that it works. It's not the way that it works. So it's important to give your ancestors offerings, give them energy to help them elevate and to move from the area that they are in, to move on to their next level. Even if it's in a new reincarnation, to come back here on this earth plane if they haven't completed what they were supposed to do, or even if it's to help them ascend, to go to different dimensions and different realms. You never know. So yes, that is the whole point of ancestor altars. Okay, so let's talk about how to set up an ancestor altar. First things first, you want to make sure that your ancestor altar is on a wooden table or some kind of wooden stand. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that it's wooden. Wood is an element. That's an earth element. That's something that is that'll keep it grounded, that'll keep it high vibrational. Let me do a few disclaimers before I move on. Ancestor altars are not for everybody. This is not for everybody to pick up on and be like, oh, this is a trend, let me go ahead and get me an altar. It's important that you understand, if you are a person who is messy, you keep your home messy, and you are disorganized, well, not necessarily disorganized, that doesn't make you messy. I can be disorganized sometimes, but if you keep your home dirty, I don't think an ancestor altar is good for you, because you want to keep high vibrational things around, and cleanliness is next to godliness. I know we have all heard that before. That is very true. So when you have mess around you, that creates negative spaces and negative entities to come into your space. Usually, if you do have mess around you, negative entities are probably already lingering around you. That could show up in the form of depression. That could show up in the form of, I don't know. Depression is the only thing coming to my mind right now. But it's important to know that ancestor altars are not for everybody. And specifically, I had another thing I wanted to say here about that one. Yeah, it's definitely not a trend. And yeah, I'm gonna just go with that disclaimer for right now. So we'll go ahead and move on. So specifically, you want to get a wooden table or a stand, some kind of area where you could put your items on, and we're going to move on to that next. So the second thing that you want to make sure, these are must-haves for your ancestor altars. Next thing you want to make sure you have is a glass of water. Yes, specifically a glass of water, clean water. If you can, don't use tap water. If that's the only thing that you have, that's fine. That's the only thing that you have. Your ancestors will understand that. But you want to make sure the water is clean, and you want to make sure it's a glass. So glass itself is also an element. That's sand. It's heated up sand, and it makes glass. So glass is important, and clean water is important. So the water, what that would do is give your ancestors energy to feed off of. So all of the elements are energies. So what you're doing is creating high vibrational portal for your ancestors to be able to come and commune with you, and get their energy from that. And okay, so next thing we're going to move on to, so we got the wooden table, you got your glass of water. Oh, also, you want to make sure you have a white cloth, specifically a white cloth. You can make it satin. Usually satin would probably be the best thing to have. Cotton, you can do cotton, but you want to make sure that it's white. So white is purity. White is very clean, and any other color will hold energy, and you want to make sure that the energy is as clean as possible around your ancestor altar. So specifically white. If you want to use purple, if you want to use different colors, reds and grays and browns and blues, that's up to you. I don't recommend it. Again, white, okay? You know, you always got those people that, oh, I can use. Hey, you do what you want to do. Specifically, a white cloth, okay? Also, you want to have white candle. Again, purity. You want to bring that high vibrational energy. The fire is another element. So you got your water, you got your fire, and then you also want to have incense, which would be your air element. If you don't have incense, you could use a bell, you could use a feather. Yeah, those are some options if you don't have incense. And then you want to have your earth element. Your earth element could be crystals, that could be plants. You can also have, if you don't have those items, you can use a bowl of salt. That's an earth element. And so we notice that those are the four elements. You have the water, fire, air, and then earth. So that's very important. And then you are the fifth element. So you are the spirit. You are the actual spirit that completes that element. So when you go to your ancestor altar and you commune with your ancestors, you're that fifth element that completes it. And your ancestors know you best. So you guys have a divine connection with each other. Even those ancestors that are passed away, known and unknown, named and unnamed, you know, you may not know them, but again, we are all connected. And you'd be surprised, you may act like your grandmother, great great grandmother, and you never even knew her, but a lot of your gifts you may get from her or from him, whomever it is. So even though our ancestors, a lot of them have been gone for centuries, you'd be surprised how many things we still do just like them, and how many traditions we carry on just like them. We are each other. Okay, so now that we got that out the way, so you got your 5 elements. You have your earth, air, water, and fire, and then you are the 5th element. You complete that. So you want to set up your ancestor altar specifically in this way. So north, south, east, west. Earth is north, south is fire, east is air, and then west is water. So each element controls the one of the four corners of the earth. So again, north is earth, south is fire, east is air, and then west is water. Now, what this does is this is protection with the four elements. So what you're doing is creating a high vibrational space for your, specifically your benevolent ancestors only. Benevolent ancestors only. Those that are about love and light. Specifically, you want to call in benevolent ancestors only. Those that are only about love and light. Because you got some ancestors that may have been pedophiles, you may have some ancestors that were murderers, and just a bunch of things. It's important to call in that energy that is going to assist you here on this plane in a high vibrational way. And then you want to give energy to those energies that were of good love and light. So you don't want to be giving energy to ancestors that serial killers and stuff like that. You don't want them. No. They ain't got nothing to do with you. Those people got to deal with their karma. You know what I'm saying? So you want to specifically give energy to your benevolent ancestors. And it's important to set it up in that way. So it provides high vibrational portal for them to tap into. Okay. So once you have your essentials of your ancestor altars, you got your air element, you have your fire element, your water element, your earth element, and of course you got your wooden table, you got your white cloth. Now you want to personalize your ancestor altar. So personalize it to who they know you to be. So you don't want to go to your ancestors and like, oh, peace to you and high vibrational energy to you. No, be who you are. You know what I'm saying? If you cuss, you know what I'm saying? That's who they know who you are. They know what your energy is. You cannot fake energy. Your ancestors know who you are. You want to personalize your ancestor altars. That's when you want to go ahead and put pictures up of them. And it's important to not put anyone who is of the living on a ancestor altar. If you were still here, well, you are. But I'm just saying, just for an example, if we're in the living, we don't want to be on nobody's ancestor altar. That is specifically for the ones who has passed on and is on the other side. So you want to make sure that if you have a picture of your ancestor and a living person is in the picture with them, don't put that picture in there. If you have a copy of that picture, go ahead and cut out specifically that ancestor, and then you want to put up their picture. Only of the ancestors who has passed on. So you want to go ahead and put up your pictures to personalize it. You can do a book of names. So in that book of names, if you can write down specifically the names of your ancestors, the ones that you know, of course, and you, for the ones that you do not know, because we don't know everybody who's been through our lineage. It's so vast. You want to put for those named and unnamed, and those known and unknown. So you can just write that specifically in your book of names after you've listed the ones that you want to put, or you could just specifically put named and unnamed, known and unknown. Other things to do to personalize your ancestor altars is to offer them special offerings. So offerings, of course, could be your water element that you have, which you want to make sure it's in a glass. You can offer them food, That's something that I love to put on my ancestor altar is food. So if I cook me some soul food or whatever it may be, usually I don't put things up there like tacos or anything. Not saying that y'all can't do that, but I specifically like to put soul food on my ancestor altar. Or I don't eat meat, so I don't give them like salad or anything. You can, it's high vibrational, but I'm thinking about my ancestors and who they were and not who I want them to be. Just because I don't eat meat or just because I like salads don't mean that they did. Maybe they did, but I go off of their energy and who I knew them to be in this realm. So I give them things like cornbread, and I've never put meat up there because I've never cooked it since I haven't had meat since I've had an ancestor altar. So, but it's important, if you fry you some chicken and some bread, go ahead and put them some chicken and bread up there and some hot sauce next to it. Now we know that, okay, they are not sitting there just walk away and tomorrow you wake up the food is gone. No, we know that's not the way it works, but they pull from that energy. Everything is energy, you guys. If you understand that we are in a spiritual realm, you understand that everything gives off energy. So again, food, you can give them alcohol, which I like to do shots. Now this is very intriguing to me. When it comes to alcohol, the next day when I go to my ancestor altar, it looked like somebody actually took a sip from it. Now, okay, we understand that alcohol may evaporate after so long of sitting there. But I'm talking about the next day, within 24 hours, you guys, maybe the next 8, 9 to 10 hours. It looks like it could have been a full shot like this. And when I come back the next day, it's like this. And then within 3 days, it's down to here. Alcohol ain't evaporating that fast. Listen, I know that my ancestors be pulling from that energy and they love alcohol. So that's what I give them. Also smoke. If your ancestors smoked cigarettes or if they smoked cigars, it's important to give them things that you know that they liked while they were here on this physical realm. Some people may talk about they'll walk in their house and they could smell like cigars, like somebody had just got done smoking, and nobody in the house smokes. So that's something to think about. Also flowers. That's another thing that I've noticed that my ancestors love is flowers, fresh flowers. My ancestor altar is set up in a space where the sunlight doesn't really hit it for real. I have plants everywhere and I have different things around my house where it's like beaming sunlight, but my ancestor altar is kind of in an area where it's like in between some sunlight. It's not really a lot. And I'll have plants like in my room of fresh flowers I just put in my room. Now when I get fresh flowers, I put it in different spaces all at the same day. Get this. My flowers on my ancestor altars will stay the freshest for the longest. I have did this so many times, you guys, and it never fails. It never fails. That's a wonderful sign too, to know if the energy surrounding your ancestor altar is high vibrational. If you get food on your altar and it rots really fast, or if you get flowers on your altar and it dies really fast, that's kind of like a sign that, hey, something isn't right. You need to clean your space more. You want to sage that space more. You want to create high vibrational areas. Again, you want to make sure that you have that north, south, east, and west. That is a portal, and you are protected by those elemental portals. That's why it's important to set it up that way. But yeah, when I have flowers and I'll sit my flowers on my altar, it will last the longest. The flowers in my room will die before the ones on my ancestor altar, and I got way more sunlight in my room than my ancestor altar. So I don't know. That's just me. Um, Okay, so we got that out the way, special offerings and whatever it is that you guys see fit. Now, these are just ideas. This is not, oh, you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. Now, when it comes to the setup of the altar, it's important that you stick to those things. But when it comes to personalizing your ancestor altar, it's personal to you. If you're a person who is simple, you don't need to do too much. You know what I'm saying? They know who you are. They know that energy. If you faking, that energy, and they like you not being authentic, that's not my niece, that's not my nephew, that's not my grandson, that ain't really you. They know you. They remember you. Um I I like nice shit, y'all. So my ancestor altar is nice. So when I get nice stuff and I cook me a lavish meal, guess what? They getting a lavish meal too because they know that's who I am. I give them who I am, and it's important to be you, bring you to that altar. You are that fifth element. It's what completes it. Some more ideas of ancestor altar is spending time with them. Oh, that's another um what do you call it, I can't think of the word. um that's another thing that I wanted to say is spending time with your ancestors at your altar. If you are a person who you're not going to clean your altar off once the smoke from the incense keep falling and water spilling over and you not cleaning it up, it's probably not a good idea to have an ancestor's altar, because what you're doing is creating a mess for negative energies to come and feed off of. um, so it's important to keep your ancestor altar clean, and you want to spend time with them. Don't just have it because, oh, it's something that people are doing and it's a trend. um, the whole point is to give them energy, and to commune with them. It's so many times, you guys, and I'll get into my experience of my ancestor altars, but it's so many times that I've just sat at my altar and I felt just down for a day, and I would sit there and just cry and cry, and then it would feel like I'm literally being surrounded by love, you guys. It's something that I cannot explain. um, I am an empath, so my senses are in heightened, but it would be times where I would just commune with my ancestors and just have a whole conversation with them. If you were a fly on the wall, you'd be like, "Who is this girl talking to?" You think be having a whole gathering of people in my space, but in spirit, I do. In spirit, I understand that yes, they are gathering with me. Um, you can even set up like certain times where you are at your altar with your ancestors, so they know that specifically, like, hey, this is a time where we gather together. And if you can't always stick to that time, that's okay. This is just suggestions. So spending time with your ancestors, listening to music. I love to listen to music with my ancestors because that's who I am. I love music. They know that I love music. Um, so listening to music, talking to them, meditation, being in a meditative state. Um, Sometimes I'll go to my ancestor altar to meditate, and then just to be with them, just to feel their presence. Um, Singing, writing poetry, like I said, crying, whatever it is that you want to do. If your grandmother was here and your grandmother passed away and the things that you used to do with her, it's important to know that you still can do those things. The shell is here. The shell is going back to the earth, but the spirit never dies. It goes on to be whatever next else is its mission, and to ascend. So that is some ideas that you can do at your ancestor altar. Um, Another point again is keeping the space clean. That's very important. Um, okay. Yep, so that's pretty much it, you guys. So in this video, I hope I helped someone who is interested in getting ancestor altars. Again, this is not for everybody. If this is something that is like, that girl crazy, or these people, here they go with all this is not for you. This is not for you. This is for the people who are interested in this thing and like, hey, I've been thinking about this, or the people who are actually searching for it. um so yes, I hope that helped you guys. Oh, before I end the video, I just want to give some information about my experience with my ancestor altar. So one of the things I'm thinking about right now, and my granddad, I feel like it's coming through. My granddad, about what, maybe about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, it's been about 5 years now. About 5 years ago, my granddad came to me in my sleep, you guys, and he had been deceased for maybe about 13 years. My grandfather came to me in my sleep, and I was right in that stage of, they talk about the sleep like delta and whatever, is like different stages of sleep. So I was right in between that state of like being awake and still sleep, like right in between that realm. A lot of times, most of the times, that's when your ancestors will come to you, because they can be in between that state of speaking with you. So you ever had that experience of right before you woke up, you heard a woman call your name, and you'd be like, huh? That be your ancestors calling on you, and you right in between that state where they could get to your subconscious, and your conscious pick up on it right before you wake up. But my grandfather, he came to me in my dream state right before I had woke up, and just as clear as day, when I tell you guys, he had been gone for at least 13 years. I had never experienced anything like this before. And I'm asleep, and all I hear is, hey. And my granddad had this voice that just shook the room when he walked in it. And he was loud, and this country man from Montgomery. And his energy of how he was, he died when I was 14 years old, and I am now 30 years old. Well, at that time I was 25, 26. But his energy was the same as the day that he had left. I'm like, what? He like, hey, how you doing? And his voice, his energy, his presence, I was in my sleep like, oh my God, Leroy. So my grandfather is I'm getting a little personal, but my grandfather is he's not my biological grandfather, but he raised my mother. He raised all of my mother's siblings, and as long as I've been alive, he's been my grandfather. He's been in my mom's life since she was in diapers. So that's my grandfather. So, but we never called him granddad. We always called him Leroy. And I'm just in my sleep like, Leroy. I was so happy to hear from him. And when I woke up, I was like, wait, what? And it was so eerie, you guys, because it wasn't like I was talking to a negative entity that was I was talking to my granddad. He was still that spirit. His spirit is still living on. And it was just so interesting. But he told me he told me something that was really important, that always sticks with me. He said, whatever happens, don't look back. And I'll always have that memory. But yeah, after that, a couple years later, I got me an ancestor altar, and his picture was the very first picture that I put up. So my experience with my ancestor altar has been absolutely wonderful, you guys. No, I have not had no freakish things happen. No, I ain't had nothing. People walking around in my house. I haven't had any of that experience, you guys. Like I said, I do have certain, and it depends on your gifts, because if you are a person who can see the dead, maybe you will see someone, if that is the type of thing that doesn't scare you. But if you let them know, hey, look, I ain't with that, I don't want to see y'all, they will not reveal themselves, you know. But that's not one of my gifts of like seeing the dead. I don't do that. I hear, I have senses, like sensory, um, I can even taste like certain foods that I've never even had before, or like, where's that coming from? I ain't had that in years, and that's them pulling on my energy, like, hey, put this on the ancestor altar. And smells, like I could walk past my ancestor altar and get a whiff of like this aroma of like a perfume, and I'm the only person in my house. I don't wear that kind of perfume or a type of cologne, and I know that that's my ancestors, you know. So but my experience has been absolutely wonderful, you guys. It's been times where I have been feeling like lonely, even though I know I'm not alone. And I would just sit at my ancestor altar and commune with them, and it's been wonderful. I love it. I have seen protection in my life. Like, my protection has changed. My ancestors don't play about me. Let me tell you that. No, for real. My ancestors don't. They don't play about me. They do not play about me, because I hate to say it, a lot of the times, people who are interested in stuff like this, you're probably the only one in your family giving that energy to your ancestors. So they really about protecting you. You know what I'm saying? The goal is to get more people to give energy to their ancestors, so your whole lineage can be protected, so you can start breaking off these generational curses in your family. But for the moment's being, if you're the only one, hey, look, they not about to play about you. You know what I'm saying? It's some things that I don't go to my ancestors asking and begging and stuff like that, you know. But what I will do is, if I'm in need of something, I will go to my ancestors and be like, hey, look, I this is something that I need. This is something that, you know, I need to get me to this next place to be able to do this, and just like that, it that make it happen, you know. So I have had a wonderful experience with ancestor altars. Again, I've had it for 3 years now. And I have many altars in my house, so I'll definitely talk about more altars, but specifically this video is about the ancestor altars. So again, you guys, if you are interested in this, hopefully this video helped you. I love you guys, and talk to you later.